the death came to me and other Niger Delta as a shock. But not totally a shock, because some of us, before he died, he appeared to us and in our dreams, and some of us asked questions, only to know that he was sick. But we didn't expect that that sickness would take his life. But we are not surprised, because every day he tells us that he was at the departure lounge. He has his ticket, board and boarding pass. He was only waiting for the flight that will carry him. And so when the flight came on Monday night and took him, yeah, the shock was there, but we console ourselves with the fact that he had told us that his time was due. He was just waiting for the flight, and the flight came and took him. Clark achievements are not issues you can just one or two, three things. Clark has been in public life for close to 3 decades. He has been a public servant. He has served the Midwestern government. He has served the Bendel state government. He had served the federal government as a commissioner of information. And he has been serving the Niger Delta, the southern Nigeria, and the Middle Belt. If you recall, at the time Nigeria was to break up, himself and 12 others, General Gowon and few others, came together to make sure Nigeria remained one. And in the heat of the crisis, when the Niger Delta was boiling, Edwin Clark also played a significant role in ensuring that peace returned. When Avengers came, the Niger Delta Dialogue Group, led by SPIF, the Southern Group, led by D.K. Clark, and the Obankata Group came together, and in 2016, PANDEF was formed. He became the natural leader of PANDEF. And he led the Niger Delta leadership, over 100, to Buhari's government. And we presented the 16-point agenda then. And the government also presented 20-point agenda, and we stoutly opposed the 20-point agenda. But by and large, he was able to secure peace for the Niger Delta and also the federal government without the gun, without the arms, without killing. So he saved lives and at the same time saved the government from getting whatever they want to get. And promises were made, even though some of them were not, most of them were not fulfilled. The Oko-Jumbo University, the Maritime University, was one of the outcome of such struggle. The upgrading of the Oron, the Oron maritime study was also part of the struggle. The other things, IPREP and so on, he played the role in making sure the rehabilitation take place in the Niger Delta. He founded the Southern Nigeria Forum with the likes of Ayo Adebanjo, who led the Afe the Wanenje Digbo, and the PANDEF. Then also the Southern Belt, Southern and Middle Belt, the Middle Belt Forum joined us. And there have been a lot of meetings bringing the country together instead of the anarchy and the breakup. But besides, if you look at this book, The Brutally Frank, he has been speaking to authorities. Like the case of River State, when River State crisis started, there was a very strong voice. So he was telling all of us to get not to sleep, to fight against injustice. He's a man who does not like injustice. He fights for the oppressed. He fights for the oil-bearing communities in the Niger Delta. He was among those who brought the 13% derivation. And even the NDDC, he played a role. So he had played several roles with the leaders like Graham Douglas and others. No, when Dababiriye left, I think he stepped into the shoes of Dababiriye and fought for the emancipation of the Niger Delta. He has done well for the people of Niger Delta. And that is why the people of Niger Delta are mourning a leader who makes sacrifice. For the past 20 years, he was not fighting for himself. He was fighting for the minorities, the Nigerian minorities, particularly the South-South. Igbos, he supported the Igbos strongly. He agitated for Igbos strongly. He was of the Igbo presidency, supported the Igbo presidency. Although he fought for Southern presidency, but he was more attached to Igbos to make sure they are also compensated for the fact that the West have ruled, the South side have ruled, it's the Igbos that have never ruled. So he fought for them and said, we must support them. Although some of us stubbornly said, no, we will not support them. But agree, as a man, that was his principle. He believed that the East should be compensated. So he's a freedom fighter by all measure, and he speaks to power that be without fear of evil. And he will tell you, I fear nobody. I want to share one, the latest, one of the latest experience I had with him. In the fallout of the local government election in Rivers State, the NSA, Rabadu, called him and sent some people to him. And he told him clearly, as soon as Rabadu called him and he had that name, Rabadu said, look, you must withdraw your security, your policemen from Rivers State, from the local government headquarters, and allow the election to take place. If you don't do that, I will cause trouble in the Niger Delta, and I fear nothing to do. Highest you will do is to arrest me and kill me. I'm already ready to die. I'm in my departure lounge. I'm waiting for my plane. So if what I will do will facilitate my plane and I will go, I have no problem. But make sure they withdraw all the police. And that was why in the eve of that election, all the police officers, because Commissioner of the IGP was directed to remove all the police. And that led to peaceful election in Rivers State. That is the kind of character Clark is. Clark supported the Women 25 struggle. I cannot mention a lot. He stick his neck without bothering what will benefit him, what will not benefit him. Shell said they are not going to support him because he is against them in the way they manage the Women 25 issue. And a lot of, he said, to hell with you. I don't need your money. That was his word. Go on, do the right thing. That was Clark for you. So Clark is somebody who always stands for the truth, who always support the minorities, the less privileged, and he made sure that the right thing is done at all times. You see, Clark himself did not bring himself. When Dababiriye died, at the time Dababiriye died, Clark was not in the country. Clark came, and naturally it evolves, and that mantle moves to him. There are a few persons he has mentioned that when I die, you will take over from me. Like he will tell you how he took over. There was a particular man who came to his house very late in the morning and asked him to swear that he will not abandon the Ijaw struggle. And this man came to him very early in the morning with a body in jail. And the man said he will liabate that Clark will not die until he fulfill his mission for the Ijaw nation. And so that happens. And there are some persons Clark had spoken of, if I die, I have confidence you will replace me. But that may not be the issue. When the time comes, by Ijaw tradition, even during the burial, that bed that was in Clark will fly to another person. And without knowing, the person will start to do what he's doing. That is how it should be. We believe in that, and I believe that within the burial, somebody will ordain spiritually, and the person will come out and do what Clark is doing. And this is natural. When one prophet dies, another prophet will surely come up. So I believe God will bring another prophet who will do much more than what Clark has done for the people of Niger Delta, the South-South, the Southern Nigeria, the Middle Belt, and for entire Nigeria. We will make sure Nigeria is united. We will speak the mind of the Niger Delta, and we will work for the people of the Niger Delta. I strongly believe that the South-South governors will support the burial of Chief Edwin Clark. But Edwin Clark is not just a South-South leader. He's a national leader. Mr. President has visited him as a paid condolence visit. So the federal government must play a role in the burial of Chief Senator Dr. Edwin Clark. The Southern group, the Southern Nigeria, will also play a role. To that extent, governors from the Southwest, Southeast will play a role. Will support the Niger Delta governors to make sure Clark is given a befitting burial. Clark burial will be a carnival like that of Graham Douglas. I can tell you Graham Douglas' burial was carried out by the people of Niger Delta and River State. The family did not contribute any money to bury him. He was buried by the people. The people contributed money to bury him. Therefore, that of Clark will follow the same. Clark family may not contribute one either, but Clark will be given a befitting burial. And the job people will bid their gele for him in his honor. We will flood into Kabodo and bury him. Clark really fought for the oil-bearing communities, and because he saw the brunt what the oil-bearing community suffers. And we're also seen as oil-bearing state what is happening in this country. Recently, Mr. President approved 5 LNG plants, smaller LNG plant. None came into the South-South, where the gas is actually produced. And Clark is not happy with that. Again, you can see the ports. The southern port, the eastern ports are not doing well. The ports, yeah, the Port Harcourt port, the Calabar port, up to the Warri port, the Sapele port, all the ports in the Niger Delta are not doing well. Not that they are not good ports, but the politics, he was not happy with the politics. And I think we are just discussing how best we can be able to revive these ports. Again, the South-South Development Commission was another thing that Clark was very angry with, that every other commission has been endorsed except the South-South Development Commission. And now that Clark is dead, I think Mr. President will quickly sign that to law, because you cannot take off the Niger Delta Ministry and keep us naked. Some people may argue NDDC. NDDC is a totally different body. It's for the oil-bearing states and oil-bearing communities. But these development agencies are for the region. And if every region has gotten, why will the Niger Delta not get their own? And more so, the National Assembly have passed the law. So I think Mr. President will do that. These are things Clark frowned. Then NNPC, we strongly believe that if a South-South man is the GMD, this kind of thing that happened with the new plant will not happen. There is no way one will not be cited in the Niger Delta state. We don't care which of the state, because we have the gases, we're talking about proximity to raw materials. So anywhere we have the raw materials, I think we should be able to cite this plant, which will help our people in terms of employment, in terms of cash flow, in terms of economic development. So we think that if NNPC is managed by our son, then something will happen. Then the employment and the policies. The oil-bearing communities are suffering greatly. They have displaced them from their ecological system. They have displaced them from their traditional occupation of fishing and farming. But if our son is the GMD, at least the policies that would drive the companies to do something will be there. And here I ask, Bele Kyari is over 60 years. We had said he should be retired in line with the public service rule and the Constitution of Nigeria. We have not heard whether it's retired or not, whether it has been removed or not, because I believe that when a man has served over 36 years, if they're doing the proper thing, those extra years he has served, he will refund it. Any salary he earns will be refunded. According to the public service rule, if you want to hire him back, maybe if you don't have anybody who want to hire him, you will put him a seat below his former seat. You will not put him where he belongs. Somebody may be there and he will be deputizing for the person. Even if he's covered as an expatriate, that is what will happen. But for Kyari to leave Nigerians who are qualified to manage the NNPC and brought expatriates, that itself is disservice. Look at the NPDC. We have Niger Deltans who are competent enough, who are working there, who are supposed to head that place. But they are not the ones heading it. They brought an expatriate so that they will not head the place. Look at the employment in the NNPC. We are going to look at the recent employment that is coming out. How are they distributed? Our people who own the oil are not employed. Our people are already facing out gradually in the NNPC. The Niger Delta sons and daughters are facing out in the NNPC. And even recently, the lady who climbed up was not allowed to leave to reach her retirement age. If Kyari can stay above his retirement age and he will not allow Niger Delta people to get up to their retirement age, then there's a question mark. Also, Nigerians are waiting to know whether he's still in the NNPC or he has been retired. If he has not been retired and is still kept there, then what is Mr. President doing? If there must be equity. If you say you will not give National Assembly Service Commission extension of their pension, why are you extending the pension of Kyari? If people are crying for the retirement of the IGP, why are they not crying for the retirement of Kyari? Why are we not following the law of this country? Nigerian law says you must retire at a certain age, either in service or in your real age. Kyari is over 36 years in an NPC. Kyari has stayed over 60 years. And what is he still doing? We want government to come up clearly, boldly, and tell us why they're still keeping him. Because Nigerians are not happy. And if you look at the happenings within the oil and gas sector, the sector is not still settled. Because there's confusion. Whether Kyari is going, Kyari is not going, nobody can say it, nobody can entertain it. Mr. President should please come out boldly and tell Nigerians what is happening. If Kyari is retained, why is he retained? Contrary to the law, according to the public service rules and the Nigerian Constitution. So we need to know, if somebody claims an NPC is now a limited liability company, an NPC is still a public service company in line with the Constitution. The Constitution is very clear on that. For the Code of Conduct, it is very clear that corporate bodies, companies, corporations owned by the federal government or state government are part of the public service rules. So if they are part of the public service rule and they must follow the Code of Conduct, then they must obey the retirement age. Government does not say, oh, an NPC workers, they should retire at the age of 70 or 65 or thereabout. They are saying it's 60 years. And so many people are getting retired. Some are even retired before their time. So why will Kyari still be kept there? These are the questions we want to know. And these are the questions Niger Delta will know whether Clark is alive or Clark is dead. Even at the death of Clark, we must continue to demand for that you must bring a Niger Delta son to take over the NPC.